Hi, this is Sarah Payne with Magnify Learning. Welcome to our web session preview. Our goal is to give you more of an understanding and feel for the type of service we offer with our PBL web sessions. This web session, the Why for Project-Based Learning, will be exploring what project-based learning actually is and the reasons why a project-based learning model benefits students, teachers, and schools. So let's dive in. In each web session, I want to make sure that the participant understands why we're covering the content and what he or she should take away from the session. This is the same model that I follow in my classroom workshops with students. I give them the why and I outline the objectives for the lesson. Okay, so our rationale is that before adopting project-based learning in your own classroom, you first need to understand what it is. Furthermore, you need to see if there are truly benefits to project-based learning and what they are in regards to students and teachers. So today's objectives are that you would be able to identify the elements of a project-based learning unit and to see what the benefits are with project-based learning. Okay, so what exactly is project-based learning? Magnify Learning defines it as a way of learning in which students acquire content, knowledge, and skills in order to answer a driving question based on an authentic challenge, need, problem, or concern. Project-based learning is done collaboratively and within groups using a variety of employability skills such as critical thinking, communication, and creativity. Project-based learning allows for student voice and choice as well as inquiry. Authentic PBL involves a community partner and a publicly presented product, as well as reflection on the elements of the PBL process and learning throughout the project and after it is completed. According to Edutopia, project-based learning is a dynamic classroom approach in which students actively explore real-world problems and challenges and acquire a deeper knowledge. With this type of active and engaged learning, students are inspired to obtain a deeper knowledge of the subjects they are studying. Here's one more definition for project-based learning that I really like. This is from Heather Wolpert-Gowan in her article called What the Heck is Project-Based Learning? She says, PBL is the act of learning through identifying a real-world problem and developing its solution. Kids show what they learn as they journey through the unit, not just at the end. She identifies PBL as an act of learning, again, through identifying a real-world problem. And then I think this is key, this word developing a solution. It's not just being presented to them in a textbook or being given to them by the teacher. The students are developing together in groups a solution to the problem. They're working with their peers, getting help from the teacher as they facilitate the learning process. But again, the focus is on students developing a solution. The kids show what they learn as they journey through the unit. I like the concept of journeying through the unit because they are in the process of learning and they're in deep inquiry, and that's their journey. Their learning is the journey. They aren't just getting to the end of their learning and doing a standalone project. As they move through the unit, they are taking their learning and they are applying it, and they see that it really does matter. I think that's what makes PBL special. So go ahead and think or reflect on what are some of the key words that stick out to you from the definitions of PBL you've been given so far. This graphic provides a nice visual for the process of a project versus a project-based learning unit. Take note of some of the visual differences you can see in the process of a traditional project and a PBL unit. As you can see, all of the major chunks of learning are completed and assessed before the project happens. The students don't necessarily need the content knowledge or skills to complete the project. All of their learning takes place before they've done the project, and it's not necessarily connected to what they learned or the skills that they gained. As noted in the definitions of PBL mentioned earlier, project-based learning really is based on a process of learning while doing. So students are given the why from the very beginning of the project. They are given that in the project launch. The challenge or issue or need is posed to them in the entry event, and they're given a rubric that outlines the criteria for their end product and helps them see what they're going to be creating throughout the project process. So from the very beginning, the students understand the reason why they are learning the content knowledge and the skills. And then they're taking their content knowledge and skills and applying it. That's the major difference between a project and a PBL unit. is that the students have an authentic reason for learning the content, knowledge, and skills, and they are using what they're learning throughout that PBL process. It's really important for students to have a why behind what they're doing and what they're learning, and that's what makes PBL powerful. Here on the left is a visual model of the PBL process. You can see more of the details of each phase of a PBL unit, and in this model, students are moving through what we call a problem-solving process, or as Magnify Learning defines it, the 6 steps. The 6 steps are outlined here on the right? They're defining the problem, finding solution criteria, doing solution research, picking a solution, creating, running, and then inspecting the solution, and reflecting. If you look at the process on the left, you get to see more of the fine-tuned details of the PBL process, right? So entry event or entry document, going through the no need to know process, coming up with a problem statement, students are doing research, there's project benchmarks, they generate ideas, and then they implement that solution, right? They actually choose the solution, and they should get some feedback, right? So they're going to get feedback from their peers, from the facilitator, and then incorporating community partners into that feedback is also really key. So they're going to present that final end product, get response from the community, and then reflect on the overall process and what they learned. So it's important to note that whatever process you use for implementing PBL, that there are consistent components within a PBL unit. Right? First off, that every PBL unit is centralized around an authentic challenge or problem, need, or concern. So students are tackling that challenge, need, concern, or problem within their community. Their community could be their school, right? Their local community, right? The city or town they live in, their state, or even the United States, right? Or if they want to go internationally. So community is just outside the walls of the classroom. Also in a PBL unit, you're going to find the use of employability skills, right? They're going to be collaborating, thinking critically, using creativity, communicating. In a PBL unit, students have voice and choice, right? They get to make decisions about what they're designing or about the project. There's going to be a publicly presented product. In some way, what students create will be used out in the real world. And generally that involves presenting that to an authentic real world audience. PBL units also involve benchmarks, right, where there's points for feedback and student revision. And then it also involves reflection, right, throughout the process and at the end. So there are just some consistent components that you're going to find in every PBL unit that actually make it a true PBL. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of what project-based learning actually is and what components make up a PBL unit. So now let's look at the benefits of project-based learning in the classroom. To give you some perspective on what some of the benefits of project-based learning actually look like, I'd like you to watch this short video. As you watch it, observe the classroom setup and look at any aspects of project-based learning that might be highlighted. Hopefully the video helped you identify some of the positive aspects of PBL: interactive and hands-on learning, authentic problems with real-world variables, integration of core subjects, collaboration with peers. Those are just a few I hope you picked up on. The Indiana Collaborative for Project-Based Learning has compiled a collection of research around PBL that identifies several other benefits of project-based learning. They note that it's a great equalizer by creating engagement at all levels. And more than just engagement, research has found that students that are in project-based learning show equal or even greater achievement on standardized testing, while also getting to experience real-world 21st century skills required by the workplace. Those real-world 21st century skills, such as collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity, had formerly been taught to students in the workplace, so after school had already happened. But with project-based learning, students were coming out of school better prepared with those skills so they could tackle colleges and careers of their choice. Okay, so I want to dive a little bit more deeply into the benefits of PBL. The first one identified was engagement. So students in PBL classrooms generally have improved attitudes, are more engaged, are more self-reliant, and have better attendance. Some of that is due to the fact that they have the voice and choice in the classroom, they're actually doing work that is meaningful, and that they're working with other students that are depending on them and pressuring them in a good way to be there and be present. So when you have a group relying on you, then you feel like you have meaningful work, and also that it's more important for it to get done. That's one of the benefits that we saw in our classroom. The other aspect of engagement I want to address is teacher engagement. The ICPBL found that teachers in a PBL classroom have increased job satisfaction and that they have an increased enjoyment of their role as a teacher. One of the benefits of being in a PBL classroom is that you really do serve more as the facilitator. You're facilitating the learning process, so you're there to help kids as they go through that process of inquiry engagement. There's less pressure on you to be the sage on stage or the wise guide. You're working alongside the students, and you're really creating an environment where they are being the ones that are taking initiative in their learning. And there's something really satisfying about that as a teacher. So another aspect I want to look at a little bit more closely is employability skills and how PBL helps facilitate that. So again, research found by the ICPBL noted that PBL classrooms that are run by trained PBL teachers generally are going to allow for more time to teach employability skills. So PBL units really embed those skills, and so teachers make it more of a priority to actually teach those skills. The other important aspect of this is that if students are actually tackling real-world problems, right, when PBL is done correctly, it's not a scenario, but it's a PBL unit that's based on a real-world problem, students are given the chance to actually develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And it's been found by Pearson Foundation and Microsoft in their study in 2013 that problem solving correlates with higher work quality. So students are being equipped with skills that are going to produce a higher work quality when they actually go into their jobs. So I would encourage you to take a look at the employability skills framework outlined by the U.S. Department of Education. Really think through what are employability skills. Check out that framework and look at what employability skills does a project-based learning environment address. Another benefit of PBL is that it can help close the equity achievement gap. In the study by Pearson Foundation and Microsoft in 2013, the majority of respondents reported that they agree or strongly agree that they developed most of the skill they use in their current job outside of school. In a PBL environment, students are developing those skills in school, so they're better equipped before they go out into the real world. PBL shows promise as a strategy for closing the achievement gap by engaging lower achieving students, and really engaging all students. PBL has been found to work in different types of schools serving diverse learners. A study of 3,000 middle school students showed that all kids can, in fact, learn more in science classrooms when they adopt a well-designed, project-focused curriculum. The last PBL benefit I want to highlight is college and career readiness. Students in a high-fidelity, successful PBL model, such as the one created by the New Tech Network, consistently enroll in college after their first year of high school at a higher rate than the national average. New Tech Network students consistently returned for their second year of college at a higher rate than the national average for both 4- and 2-year colleges. Developing 21st century skills can lead to higher work quality, as earlier noted by Pearson Foundation and Microsoft study. In fact, those who have high 21st century skill development are twice as likely to have higher work quality compared to those who have had low or no 21st century skill development at all. If you're wanting to know more about college and career readiness, I would recommend you check out the link listed. Also think through in regards to your students, what are college ready and career ready indicators? Are your students getting practice with those skills in the classroom? Now that you've heard the benefits of PBL based on research, I'd like for you to hear the benefits of PBL from a student. So go ahead and take a few moments to watch this video. You'll go to YouTube, type in "It really actually changed my life," and then watch the video. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that video on a student's perspective of PBL. We're almost to the end of this web session, so let's just do a quick review over some of the important elements we covered today. So again, project-based learning is a way of learning in which students acquire their content knowledge and skills in order to answer a driving question. And that driving question is based on an authentic challenge, need, problem, or concern. Project-based learning is done collaboratively, so students are working together in groups, and it incorporates a variety of employability skills, such as critical thinking, communication, and creativity. PBL allows for student voice and choice as well as inquiry, and authentic PBL involves a community partner and a publicly presented product. It also involves reflection. Students have the opportunity to reflect on the elements of the PBL process. As they're building their PBL unit, they're getting feedback on their different benchmarks, and they're also reflecting at the end of the project on what they learned and what they need to improve. According to research compiled by the ICPBL, project-based learning classrooms can lead to the following benefits: increased student and teacher engagement, closing of the achievement gap, teaching and development of employability skills, and better preparation for college and careers. A way to take action is to do some additional investigation into what PBL is and how the process of PBL works. I've listed some resources for you to do some further exploration. As a part of my personal project-based learning experience, I make sure to regularly reflect on my practice. As a part of each web session, I will end with a quote as a final thought to think upon as we come to a close. I like this quote because it reminds me to consider how PBL isn't just about learning, it's about how we work together. If students know how to take ownership of their learning, they will be able to create a foundation for how they learn and work well with others as adults. You made it through this web session. You should now know more about what project-based learning is, as well as some of the benefits of implementing PBL. I'm sure you still have more questions or need to knows, so let's identify some next steps for how to tackle those. You could attend one of our open PBL workshops held in the summer for in-person project-based learning training. You could also go on our website and request an on-site workshop for your school or district. No matter what you choose, we appreciate you letting us join you on your PBL journey. Thanks for listening.